There is exactly one decision in this entire series that you cannot undo with a software update. It's the box you buy. Get that wrong, and every single episode after this one gets harder. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Smart Workshop. Last time I showed you the shape of this lab, 2 tiers. An always-on nervous system made of small boards, and a muscle tier, 1 Mac, that does the heavy thinking. Today we spend the money on tier 1. And before we look at a single product, I want to tell you the thing that most buying guides bury in paragraph 9. It is not about the processor. When you're running AI locally, the thing that decides what you can do is memory. And it's memory in 2 different senses, so stay with me, because once you understand these 2 numbers, you can walk into this decision by yourself and never need a buying guide again. The first number is how much memory you have. This decides which models you can run at all. And keep in mind, in this phase, we are not talking GPU memory. That's tier 2. A model has to fit in memory. Take a 7 billion parameter model. Stored at full precision, every parameter takes 2 bytes, so 7 billion parameters is about 14 gigabytes. That doesn't fit on most small machines. Squeeze it down, and we'll spend a whole episode on how, and you can get that same model to about 3.5 gigabytes. Suddenly it fits on an 8 gigabyte board with room left over to actually do work. So, how much memory sets the ceiling on which models you can even load? The second number is how fast that memory is. Memory bandwidth. This one decides your speed, how many words per second come out. Here's why, and it's the most useful thing I can teach you today. To generate one single token, one little chunk of a word, the machine has to read every weight in the model. All of them. Every token. So your speed is basically your memory bandwidth divided by the size of the model. A faster processor does not save you from a slow memory bus. Remember that. It explains almost everything strange you'll ever see in local AI, including why the 2 tiers of this lab exist at all. Alright, 3 contenders. Contender 1, the single board computer. Your Raspberry Pi 5, your Rock 5, Orange Pi 5 Max, that class of device. $50 to $150 depending on memory. 4 to 16 gigabytes. It sips power. A few watts? An amount of electricity you will genuinely never notice on your bill. The memory bandwidth is modest, so a 3 billion parameter model runs at a nice conversational pace, and a 7 billion model runs at more of a thoughtful walk. But it's silent, it's cheap enough to buy 4 of, and it can run all day, every day, for years. Sound familiar? That's a tier 1 machine. That's what the nervous system is made of. Contender 2, a Mac with Apple Silicon. Unified memory gives these machines enormous memory bandwidth, and for running a language model, a Mac is the fastest thing per dollar in this comparison. It isn't close. Last episode, I told you a pile of CPU boards can't touch one small Mac Mini at inference. This is where that comes from. The processor and the graphics cores share one big, fast pool of memory, so big models load whole and generate quickly. But it starts around $600 used, it idles at real wattage, and you are not going to buy 4 of them. Here's the reframe from the old way of thinking. The Mac is not the alternative to this lab. The Mac is tier 2 of this lab. It's the muscle we bolt on later when the nervous system exists and has real work to hand it. You don't need it today, and I'd rather you spend nothing on it now and buy it with intent later than burn the budget on day 1. Contender 3, an x86 mini PC. The little Intel N100 and N305 boxes, $150 to $250. 16 or 32 gigabytes of DDR5 is common, and the bandwidth lands between the board and the Mac. The quiet advantage is that it's a normal x86 machine. Every container image on Earth just works. Although it will have an accessible GPU on it, its biggest constraint will be GPU memory, or VRAM. So much like the SBCs, even if you've got decent RAM, that means the model runs almost entirely in CPU, so it's an honorable tier 1 node with extra headroom, and if you already own one, use it. But it costs more per node and draws more at idle, and tier 1 wins on those. Not viable for a tier 2 system due to GPU constraints, however. Now, somebody in the comments is already typing, what about a used graphics card in an old desktop? You're not wrong. Bolt a used GPU into a tower and it will embarrass everything I just listed at raw speed. It will also draw hundreds of watts, 24 hours a day, because a lab is a thing that stays on. And always on is tier 1's job. If you build that box, it's a tier 2 machine that's loud. The Mac earns tier 2 in this series by doing the same job at a fraction of the power, silently on your desk. Also, the Mac's unified memory architecture means that large pool of memory can be fully used by the model in GPU. which almost certainly will outpace any discrete GPU card you might have. So, on the bench, this series builds Tier 1 out of ARM single-board computers. Partly cost per node, partly power, because this layer never turns off. But mostly, 4 cheap boards will teach you more than one expensive box, because 4 boards is how real infrastructure works. Services move between machines. Machines fail, and the work continues. You cannot learn that on one computer, no matter how nice it is. And now, reality check. A single board computer will not beat a Mac at inference. It won't get a fraction of the way there. If the only thing you want is the fastest possible private chatbot on your desk, then honestly, buy the Mac Mini first, run a model on it tonight, and be happy. That's a one-machine version of Tier 2, and it's a great machine. But you won't have a lab. You'll have a fast box that can't lose a node, can't run always, on services for pennies, and doesn't teach you the handoff. And the handoff is the product. We're building the whole thing, and the whole thing starts small. What to avoid? Anything under 8 GB of memory, you'll hit a wall by episode 5. 16, if you can afford it. Boards with weird vendor kernels and no real community. A cheap board with abandoned software is not cheap, you'll pay in weekends. I highly suggest you choose a board with at least community support for Armbian, as that's the OS we'll be using, and running off an SD card. I'm serious. SD cards die under real workloads, slowly and confusingly, and they'll make you think you have a software problem. Get a board with NVMe support and a small NVMe drive, and thank yourself in 3 months. That said, the cluster we're building will gracefully survive a node failure, so if you must run on SD cards, it will survive. Also in our demo, I'm going to use some 4 GB SBCs mixed in with larger ones, so you can see that it's possible if that's what you happen to have. I don't want that to be a barrier to entry for anyone approaching this lab build. Come along! It's a lab, so bring what you've got and you'll learn something. My recommendation for right now, buy one board. 1. 8 GB minimum, 16 if the budget allows, NVMe storage. Not 4, 1. Because next episode we put a real language model on it, and I want you to feel it work before you spend more money. The Mac can wait until the lab has work worth handing it. If you want a specific recommendation for that one board, pick up an Orange Pi 5 Max with 16 gigs and pair it with a 128 GB NVMe. Don't forget a heatsink and a fan too. Next time, we flash the OS, we install Olama, and we generate our very first token on hardware that belongs to us and nobody else. Fair warning, it's a better feeling than it has any right to be. I'm Joe with the Smart Workshop, and I'll see you next time.